Lightning Spear Huntress is truly up and running. We're now able to run around full speed, chaining lightning across the entire screen, which is making leveling a breeze. We've completely ditched the parry mechanic, which just slowed us down, and now we can generate frenzy charges independent of parry, so we can full send the damage without slowing down. The best thing about this setup is that not only does it clear maps of enemies, but it's also a boss melter as well. If you're struggling with Huntress, or you're using my earlier build from level 1 to 20 and want to know how to move forward with Lightning Spear, then you're in the right place. I'll place a planner link for the build down in the comments below. So let's talk about the key components of the build. If you've not watched my previous video, then I highly recommend watching that one first so you understand the basic concepts. So at around level 26, you should be able to unlock the Dance with Death keystone. This keystone makes you ditch your buckler, which I highly recommend doing, as the whole parry mechanic just slows you down in my eyes. This node, along with the skill speed cluster of nodes, lets you throw lightning spears so much faster, which just makes the overall gameplay of the build so much smoother. Now, because we've lost parry with disengage, how do we generate frenzy charges? Well, initially we use Sniper's Mark, which generates a frenzy charge, sometimes 2 with the right support gem setup, whenever we crit an enemy. You should be able to craft this in Act 2, and you'll see me using this on bosses, but I often used it on the first enemy of a pack before throwing my Lightning Spear as well. The other way we generate frenzy charges is through our Stormlance ability, which is our main single target DPS skill, which we use with Explosive Spear in tandem to nuke bosses. Now, if we place the Electrocute support gem, ideally as our third gem with Stormlance, it will now electrocute enemies instead of shocking them. This will then activate our buff Combat Frenzy and give us a frenzy charge. This Stormlance setup does come a little later towards the middle of Act 3. The big game changer for me actually came earlier in Act 3 when we unlock our first level 2 support gem. You absolutely want to craft this as Vault, and then replace one of your first 2 support gems on your Lightning Spear, ideally Innovate, because you want that attack speed from Martial Tempo. Vault is absolutely busted for Lightning Spear. When you move 1 meter, it charges 3 voltaic charges, up to a maximum of 30 stacks. Each 10 stacks provides our Lightning Spear with an extra chain and extra damage. If you pair this up with Barrage before firing off 1 Lightning Spear, you will now fire off 3 Lightning Spears, which can each chain so many more times, resulting in 1 cast often clearing an entire screen, and this is without any frenzy charges in the mix. So now that we understand how the build works, let's go over our skill gems. Starting off with Lightning Spear, we have Martial Tempo, which gives it more attack speed, which is vital in making the build feel smooth. We have Vault, which is, as I said, is amazing for map clearing. And then when you get that third slot, you can put Innovate back again for more damage. Stormlance is our single target DPS skill. For this we have Concentrated Effect, because primarily I'm spamming Stormlance for single target DPS, so we don't care about the AoE. Lightning Infusion for more damage, and then Electrocute so we can trigger Combat Frenzy. Explosive Spear is our detonator for Stormlance. I use a few Stormlances and then use Explosive Spear to detonate them for a huge single target burst. For Explosive Spear, you want overabundance, you can have 2 of them out, and then Fire Infusion for more fire damage. We then have Barrage, which lets you throw 3 Lightning Spears or 3 Stormlances out every once in a while. For this, I'm using Second Wind. This lets me have 2 charges of Barrage, which when you combine with the Vault Lightning Spear, is enough to clear most screens out. We don't mind the extra cooldown here, you'll more than make it up when you're running around maps wasting time. And then we have Premeditation for even more skill damage. We have Sniper's Mark in our setup, which when you critically hit a target consumes the mark and gives you a frenzy charge. Here we have Persistence, so the buff lasts longer. And then we have Profusion, so we can sometimes gain 2 frenzy charges. Our 2 auras are Herald of Thunder for even more lightning chaining shenanigans, and Combat Frenzy to generate even more frenzy charges with Electrocution. Our final skill I've added is Thunderous Leap, which is alright for moving out of a bad position, especially if your dodge is on cooldown. For our passive skill tree, starting off with the Ascendancy node points, the first set of 2 points you want to put into Elemental Infusion. This will automatically give you 2 Lightning Infusion charges when you consume a Frenzy charge, so your next 2 attacks will do a bigger blast. You can actually even put gems into this Elemental Infusion skill. I've put Magnified Effect, so the explosion from that infusion is even larger, and then I put Embitter, which converts the lightning damage into cold, so we can now even freeze enemies with this build when triggering Elemental Infusion, which is a nice bonus for bosses. Our next 2 nodes are invested into Critical Strike. Again, this is an offensive node which gives us even more critical strike chance for a portion of our accuracy over 100%. If you look at our accuracy here for Lightning Spear, it's already 125% when we're close to an enemy. So yeah, even at low levels when we don't stack too much accuracy, it's already giving us a massive bonus. As a result, we do go for more accuracy nodes in the passive tree. Now in terms of the passives we get, you want to start off by getting these attack damage nodes here. Then go underneath for these accuracy nodes. Then you want to come up here and get all these elemental nodes. Harness the Elements is really good because in this build we apply Shock, we apply Ignite and Freeze, so that's a 45% damage bonus. Make sure to pick up these Lightning Penetration nodes here. Then come down and get some more movement speed, some more elemental damage with Catalysis, and then we go for Maiming Strike for more attack damage, and Maim is a debuff by the way which slows enemies. Then around level 26-27 you should be able to get the all important Dance with Death node, which lets you ditch your buckler and the parry mechanic. Make sure to get all of these skill speed nodes to the left here. Then I went for Falcon Dive so we gain even more benefit from accuracy stacking. Then you want to come down here and get all of these spear orientated nodes which boost critical hit chance and damage for our spears. Eventually my plan is going to be to come up here and get all of these crit nodes and then come across and get enhanced reflexes and bestial skin for more defense, and then we're going to come across even more for Falcon Technique for even more damage. I will place a more detailed guide on the planner. Moving on to gear. The two most important bits of gear whilst leveling are your boots and your weapon. Your boots you want as high movement speed as you can get along with some resistances and life. For your spear you want flat physical damage, percentage increase physical damage, and then other forms of flat damage like fire or cold or lightning, along with something like elemental damage with attacks and critical hit chance. You definitely don't need all of them whilst leveling, that would be a god roll, just aim for the first few. Other pieces of gear for offensive purposes, you want rings with good flat damage to physical or lightning, gloves with physical damage, and then you ideally want helmet and chest pieces to provide evasion, life, and resistances. My defensive gear is pretty bad, so ignore my rolls. So there you have it, my lightning spear setup that will have you steamrolling the campaign in no time. I'll place a more detailed setup down in the planner below. If you want to keep following this build and see it evolve to take on maps and higher tier maps and higher tier bosses, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm Mr. Ronit and that's it for today. Peace out guys.